It's Elimination Chamber this weekend, so it's time for us to make our predictions. So I'm starting with the Women's Elimination Chamber, and this is to determine the number one contender for the Women's World title. To be honest, I think that this is going to be a really good match because we have Raquel Rodriguez who just qualified for the match, and I think that she's going to bring a really nice power element to it. I know that the power spots can also be done by Tiffany Stratton and Bianca Belair, but the fact that Raquel's so tall just actually makes it feel that much more impactful. So it's going to be really nice to see Raquel in the chamber. It just kind of sucks that this comes at the expense of Jade Cargill because I know that they were also thinking of putting her in the chamber, and it would be really nice to see her in some more matches. But unfortunately for Raquel, I also don't think that her being in the chamber really makes too much of a difference in terms of who's going to win the match because I don't think there are any other options than Becky Lynch and Liv Morgan. Now, Liv Morgan's been in every single Elimination Chamber match on the women's side. And it's crazy because she still hasn't won an Elimination Chamber, but I don't think this year's her year either. It has to be Becky Lynch, right? It has to be Becky winning the chamber, gaining some momentum, and finally building back up to being the man because it kind of feels like she's been floating recently and they haven't really known what to do with her. So it's time for her to win her first Elimination Chamber and prove that she's the man and go up against Rhea Ripley because that WrestleMania match is going to be absolutely awesome. So I'm going with Becky Lynch to win the Women's Elimination Chamber. So next on the card, and it's very strange that they made a graphic for this, but Seth Rollins and Cody Rhodes on the Grayson Waller effect. And I'm pretty sure that this is just a way to get all three of them on the show. Grayson Waller, because he is Australian, so it's only fair that he goes out in front of his home crowd. But Seth Rollins and Cody Rhodes, you really just want your two biggest baby faces on the card. And if they're not in a match, this is pretty much the way that you're going to do it. I have no idea if this is even going to have anything interesting going into it, or if anything interesting is actually going to happen, because the last time we had the Grayson Waller effect on a PLE, it was the return of Jey Uso. And personally, I actually would have just had him return on Raw, but either way, I have a feeling that this is pretty much just going to be Grayson Waller and probably Austin Theory trying to cause some tension and build another rift between Seth and Cody. And this is the perfect opportunity for Seth and Cody to put their egos aside and pretty much just band together to finally get rid of Roman Reigns and The Rock. So that's probably the only way that they can actually do the segments, because I feel like it's a cop out if they sit down and then immediately Solo and Jimmy come out and attack them, and then Grayson and Austin join in or something like that. That's pretty much the worst way to do it. I'd actually have them sit down and Cody finally go, okay, look, you want to get rid of Roman? I need to finish my story. We just need to work together here because The Rock is actually causing some BS. So that's pretty much the way that I would have it go down, because we all know that The Rock and Roman are probably not going to be there. I mean, if Roman was actually scheduled to be on the show, and if The Rock was actually going to be there, they would actually put it on every single poster because it's an international show. And as much as I've hated Roman's title reign, he is now a draw because we don't see him all the time. Now that he's never actually on TV, having Roman there feels very special. So you would want to advertise that. I'm 99% sure that Roman's not going to be there, but WWE have fooled us before, so I guess you never really know. I really don't want this to end up being like another segment just for Solo and Jimmy to attack Seth and Cody, because that would really, really, really look bad. So this is the match that they've been building the entire pay-per-view around, and it's because it's Rhea Ripley's home country, and it's Rhea Ripley versus Nia Jax for the World Championship. And Nia Jax has been on a dominant streak since coming back, and it's really nice to see because we haven't really had like a dominant, powerful heel character in the women's division in a while, and Nia Jax pretty much fits that mold really, really nicely. I think that she's really come into her own in this run. Like, she's been doing really, really, really good heel work. Aside from the promo with Becky Lynch where she pretended to cry, but that's for another time. Nia's been doing really, really, really well, and I don't want this momentum train to stop. But is there actually a chance of Nia Jax winning this match? I'm gonna say no, because the fact that Liv and Becky don't even acknowledge the fact that this match is happening and they're going straight to "we want to fight Rhea," and Raquel kind of being like the diplomatic one that says it could be Rhea, it could be Nia, I want to face both of them. So for the first time, I can genuinely say that this is not going to be an easy match for Rhea Ripley. In her own words, Nia Jax has been squashing everyone. I don't think it's going to be easy for Rhea, because we've on multiple occasions now seen Rhea take a beating from Nia Jax, and it's so strange to see, but this is the first time where it looks like Rhea Ripley might be in trouble, and maybe, just maybe, this means that it could be the return of Dom coming to the ring with her, and Dominic Mysterio actually helping her through this match, because he can see that it's been stressing Mommy out, so he's gonna go out there and help her. Besides, I think Dom and JD are the only ones that don't have a match on the show out of the Judgment Day. So it would actually be a good way to put Dominic on the show by having him help Rhea. And this will also make Nia Jax look super duper strong, because imagine her freaking giving Dominic Mysterio a Samoan drop. It would be awesome. It'll actually not hurt Rhea at all to have Dom's help, but also make it look like Nia Jax is the most credible threat to Rhea Ripley in a long time. And that way, hopefully, both of them can kind of go over. Rhea Ripley going over by actually winning, so going over in the traditional sense, and then Nia Jax going over in defeat as a real threat and a dominant force in the women's division. But at the end of the day, Rhea Ripley needs to win this match. I don't see any other world title match in the women's division aside from Rhea Ripley versus Becky Lynch. Like, that has to be the match for the world championship, right? So moving on to the Undisputed Tag Team Championship match, and this is Finn Balor and Damian Priest of Judgment Day versus Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate, who were known as British Strong Style, but Tyler Bate came up with some other weird name on Smackdown the other day, which I don't remember. This match is going to be so much fun. It's going to be so much fun to see like more of a European style of wrestling, especially with like Finn Balor, Pete Dunne, and Tyler Bate, and then just getting those awesome power spots from Damian Priest. It's going to be absolutely awesome and so much fun. To be honest, I really wasn't expecting this match. I thought that we were definitely getting Judgment Day versus DIY, but this is such a fun, unexpected surprise that I really, really think this is going to be a great match. I hope that they get at least 20 minutes, because that's what this match deserves. I don't want Tyler Bate and Pete Dunne to lose, but we can't have Finn Balor and Damian Priest losing the titles now. A little bit of a spoiler for WrestleMania. I think that on night one they'll lose the titles, and then whenever Seth versus his opponents happens, I think that that's when Damian Priest actually cashes in. And I know that for a long time I've been trying to predict Damian Priest cash-ins, and for a long time I've been saying I wanted him to cash in on Roman Reigns, but it's one way to really just take the title off of Seth Rollins without him losing anything, but also to have Damian Priest look really strong. And it leads to Damian Priest versus Seth Rollins in the future, because for so long Seth has had that moniker of, I'm the only person that's been able to cash in at WrestleMania successfully, but Damian Priest did the exact same thing to him and he won. So that leads to Damien versus Seth in the future, which would be really, really awesome. Plus, of course, Seth needs to get the title back, but that's a really nice little interesting tidbit that you could put into it. So I think Judgment Day should win here. Finally, the men's Elimination Chamber match. And to be honest, I didn't know anyone else in this match aside from Randy Orton and Drew McIntyre because it feels like they're the most important people in this match. They're the ones that had the stare down after both of them qualified. Drew McIntyre feels like the front runner going into this match. I don't think that anyone else, I don't really see anyone else facing Seth at Mania for the title. I don't know because Drew McIntyre seems like the front runner. But Randy Orton versus Seth Rollins, that just sounds so good to me right now. Randy Orton versus Seth just sounds like such a good match. I mean, we haven't really seen them interact too much in the last few years. So having Randy as this returning Viper who's out for blood and Seth as this current white hot baby face, it would be so good because uh like it sounds so good. And the thing is that you can flip the switch and turn Randy Orton heel at any moment and it would make sense. So I'd really love to see Randy versus Seth, but it feels like Drew McIntyre's time. It feels like Drew McIntyre should be the guy walking into WrestleMania, and then just as he's about to beat Seth Rollins, Damian Priest needs to cash in. Like, oh, that would be so good. Oh, it would be so good. I mean, that vengeful Drew McIntyre that's constantly just blaming other people for him not winning titles at the moment, and now he has Damian Priest to blame for that too. Ah, it would be so good. Okay, I'm getting ahead of myself here because that's a WrestleMania prediction coming early. My final prediction for this: Drew McIntyre should win the men's Elimination Chamber. But those are my predictions. What do you think should happen at Elimination Chamber? What do you want to happen? And as always, leave a comment down below. Do all of those cool YouTube things like subscribing to the channel if you haven't already, leaving a comment, liking the video, sharing it with your friends and family if they really want to hear someone talk about wrestling. And of course, as always, be mindful and be kind, and I will see you at Elimination Chamber.